Tues here as well. She's trying not to laugh too much. Let's move on to talk about Donald Trump. Can't laugh about Donald Trump. Start of the Republican National Convention in the US. Flo.
That's right. Huge news in the U.S., as you can imagine. The Republican circus has come to Cleveland, and it's not a pretty picture, according to a lot of papers. Let's take a look at an article, first of all, in Politico, that says that Trump puts a dark view of America on display. It was a red beef buffet of raw emotion for an angry Republican electorate. That's their summary of day one. Now, as you can imagine, papers outside of the U.S. are also paying very close attention. The Guardian, in its editorial, has very harsh words for Donald Trump. You can see his anger is a threat to a nation on the edge. Of course, the U.S. is very divided in the lead up to the presidential election, but it goes beyond the U.S. as well. The Guardian points out that what happens in the U.S. shapes the rest of the world, and that's why the convention in Cleveland matters so much.
The papers run across the world really focusing on the convention. Also, Donald Trump's personality, his fiery personality.
If you haven't been on the planet Earth for the past couple of months, you can read an article in Le Parisien. It's kind of a discovery. Who is Donald Trump, this man that's shaking up the U.S.? And you can see that cartoon there that says, I'm going to be president of the U.S., proof that the American dream is true. Anybody can be president, says Le Parisien. And inside, Le Parisien takes a closer look at his strengths and weaknesses, because he has strengths, according to Le Parisien. He's seen as being a self-made man politically. He's not part of a dynasty like the Clintons or the Bushes, but he has a lot of weaknesses as well. He's seen as being xenophobic, anti-immigrant, anti-women, anti-Muslim, anti-minority, and a lot of Republicans openly can't stand him.
Still has a lot of critics, including now his ghostwriter, in fact.
That's right. This is an article and story that's getting a lot of attention. I pulled out an article in Le Monde, but you can really read about it all over the press today. This is a man named Tony Schwartz. He ghost wrote a book called The Art of the Deal in the 1980s that really helped create the Trump myth today. The myth that, Trump is a charming businessman, very successful. Today, Tony Schwartz says that he feels a lot of remorse. I put lipstick on a pig. Those are his words. And he has very harsh words for Trump today. He says that he is a liar, a narcissistic sociopath. So quite a different picture from the 1980s.
And meanwhile, Donald Trump's wife, Melania Trump, she tried to paint a very different picture of her husband during her keynote speech a few hours ago, last night in the US, early hours of the morning here
That's
in France.
right. And her speech is getting a lot of attention, raising some eyebrows for one particular reason. You could read about it in Vox. This is actually Kate that pointed this article out to me. Essentially, the speech she delivered sounded a whole lot like the speech that Michelle Obama delivered in 2008. Now, if you don't believe me, there's actually a video that goes along with the article. You can click on it, and it's pretty nuts. It seems like she lifted whole sentences from Michelle Obama's speech. And as you can imagine, Twitter is having a field day with this. Check out this tweet. There are many along the hashtag famous Melania Trump quotes. I had a dream.
Very nice. Yeah, why not? Let's move on to some other news. Lots of focus as well on the aftermath of the failed weekend coup in Turkey, you found.
That's right. Huge story still today in the press. Lots of fears that what we're seeing here is a post-coup purge here. Front page of the Wall Street Journal saying, the coup leaders, the alleged coup leaders, are facing court. The government has detained more than 7,500 people. If we take a look at the front page of Hurriyet Daily News, you can see that they're even considering, reinstating the death penalty, which was banned in 2004. I pulled out some cartoons on this topic. First of all, in Kommersant, a Russian paper, we can see a soldier here, a Turkish soldier, hanging from the crescent on the Turkish flag. Also, Schultz in the Netherlands, looking at the aftermath of the failed coup. You can see, very interesting, you can see this statue here of the president, Recep Tayyip Erdogan, being pulled down, much like the Saddam Hussein statue was pulled down, but you can see it didn't work, and instead there's a noose hanging from his finger here.
Real fears that the president could be using this coup against him as a way, really, to become more authoritarian.
That's right. Interesting analysis piece in El Monitor. That's a paper, a publication based in Washington, deals with Middle East information in general. You can see they're wondering if actually this was just an elaborate hoax by Erdogan. The article says, the government reacted really quickly, so it seems like maybe, there could be some conspiracy behind this. And there's a cartoon in Al-Quds, that's a pan-Arab paper based in London, that echoes this. You can see Erdogan actually playing Pokemon Go here to get rid of the opposition in the army. And let's take a look at a cartoon as well in Libération, very critical of the fact that perhaps Erdogan is using this to become more authoritarian, to take control. You can see him here saying, "Live Turkish democracy," but crushing people in his palm there.
Finally, a quick word on the Olympics from Flo. This is a damning report from the World Anti-Doping Agency on Team Russia.
That's right, real quick, but it's a huge story. Let's take a look at the front page of Le Soir. The Belgian paper looks at this damning report, which essentially says that the Russian state, organized statewide doping in several Olympic games. The WADA, so that agency, has recommended banning Russia from the upcoming Rio Olympics, and the Washington Post agrees. Now, as for Russian papers, I pulled out some articles too. You can take a look. They're outraged, as you can imagine, and say that all this is very political, not really much to do about sports.
Flo, thank you very much. Flo and Kate on France 24. More news in a few seconds' time. Stay with us.